Hello, everybody. Everybody get a place to sit down and let's just visit a while. I've got my coffee. I warmed it up. It's getting later in the day. It's almost noon. James will be coming in here hungry. Maybe. You know, I tell you what, I decided ever since, my blood pressure shot up when I was going through that stressful time with my cat running off and my niece dying suddenly. And so I went to the doctor, and I believe in doctors. So it just wouldn't come down. I'd take it and it would be 200 over something. So I went to the doctor, and they could not even get a reading because I've got white coat syndrome too. So the doctor said to me as I was leaving, go home and calm yourself down. Well, I listened. So I went home and I said, I've got to calm myself down. So I started telling myself, these things that are happening are not the end of the world. Your cat may have found a home where God needs him to be. Look on the bright side, for pity's sake. What's the matter with you, woman? So I talked to myself. Sometimes we just have to talk straight to ourselves because we get out of hand. I was out of hand. And I start and my niece was a wonderful woman of God. She graduated. She's in heaven. And it was a sad thing. And this Charlie Kirk getting killed, I have cried over that one, children, because my heart goes out to that wife. He is with the Lord and he's walking with the Lord right now. But it's still such a tragedy because he was such a worker for bringing people together. This is a new wig. I just got it. You know how I flip flop around. I was just looking at it. I'm brown today. See my brown? Look, there's a brown fireplace there. We are cord, and yellow goes good with brown, don't you think? But this young man getting killed like that, 31 years old, and my kids, my children, have cried over it. I mean, we cry, we're grieving that young man. And did you know last night in they're having memorial services or vigils, as they call them, all over the world. And they had one 20 miles down at Corden, Indiana, where Melissa, my favorite granddaughter, lives. And don't you know her and her fiance, her daughter, her son? There was hundreds of people there. There were so many that I think they had to move it to the fairgrounds, and all of them had candles. She sent me videos of what was going on, and they were singing. And this morning I heard Hannity say that Turning Point has started 30,000 more chapters. He's a martyr. He has died for the cause of Christ right here in the USA. And God is using it for his good. God can get good out of horrible things. Look what Jesus had to go through on the cross, that he died for us. And now we have another martyr. And the young people are picking up the torch and wanting to get back to basics. And you know what basics is. In the 40s and 50s, I was going to talk about YouTube, but when I got married in the 50s, wives and husbands, there was divorce back then, but they went to church, and when they got married, it was for better for worse till death us do part. And that's what this young man was holding up for. Young men want to get married, young women want to get married in the 40s and 50s, and nowadays they just shack together and live together, and sometimes they don't talk about marriage at all. But he was bringing them back to that. He said he feels in his heart, or he told, that everybody wants somebody to love. I don't know where my remote went. But anyway, this happens quite often. But we don't worry about it. We just fix it sometimes and take time and fix it. I'm just going to turn it off. We'll have a black screen in back of us. How would that be? How do I look? I don't look too bad. You know, you don't always have to have something like that. But I get carried away. about some things, and that is one I have got carried away about. You just look at me like this. Now I look as cute as a button, don't I? Shamey, shamey, you brag on yourself. But I like to look nice for y'all, and I like to look nice for myself. I had a friend that wore wigs, and she would take hers off when she went to bed, even. She, and she wouldn't wear it around the house because she said, nobody's here. What difference does it make? Well, you know what makes difference to me? I'm there, and I have mirrors all over this house. And when I walk past and I want to look at myself, I want to look halfway decent, you know? Okay, where was I? I don't know. Y'all probably ain't watching this by now. But when I went on YouTube, I decided that it would be chapters of my life and I would tell all the miracles that happened in my life, which I have done. This is my oven where I cook everything, and I don't use my big oven at all. And we was over at his house last night, and I was doing dishes, and the sink kind of got stopped up. So I took a little cup, and water was in the sink, and it wasn't going down. So I just kind of plunged the sink, so maybe it had food particles in it because I don't have a food grinder in that sink, and there was nothing that I could feel down in the sink. So I just went with a little cup, a glass, and kind of plunged it, and I heard something go pop, and all of a sudden I had a flood on the floor. What happened was I knocked off the hose where the water goes down, and till that water run out. So James is working on that this morning, but I think I did it. Now, where was I? I don't know. I tell you what. Oh yeah, talking about YouTube. So when I started my YouTube channel, I did not know you got paid on YouTube, but my niece says, they pay people if they get enough. I said, I never heard tell that. And now they're paying me. But what I just was going to tell about all the miracles in my life that God has done, like giving me babies when I couldn't have children, when the doctors operated on me when I was 17 years old. I got married at 16, but by 17, I was in surgery. One tube and one ovary they had to take out, and they said the other ovary was no good, would never have any eggs because it was so cystic and so rotten. He said, I'm sorry to tell you. He said, but we didn't take it, Dr. McCullough said, because you're only 17 years old, and we would have to give you female hormones for the rest of your life, and we don't want to do that for you. So this one ovary maybe will give you enough hormones as a female, because I didn't want to turn into a guy, and I didn't know what he's talking about. Honest. I know now. I learned a lot. So, but he said, but the sad news is you will never have any children. And I want you to know I cried all the way to the bus stop because we lived in New Albany, and the only way we got around town was on the bus. And I cried when I was on the bus. I cried all the way home. And then, well, see, I didn't want kids anyway because mom had so many and I didn't like taking care of her kids. So I thought I didn't want any. But when they tell you you can't have any, all of a sudden, guess what happens? I might want a baby someday. You know, really. They took the choice away from me. And that upset me badly. But God healed me and gave me twins the first time. And another miracle was they were born like 2.5 months early, and the doctors told me they're going to be blind and mentally retarded. I said, no. And I started talking to the Lord a whole lot. They kept you in the hospital back then for a week. And that's all I did while I was awake was pray. And the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, your babies are going to be fine. And I knew it wasn't me. I knew it was God. And I got up and I ran to the nurse's station, and I said, let me send a telegram right now. And I sent a telegram. My husband was overseas on board a ship, and I sent him a telegram saying, mother and baby's doing fine. And I named them Karen and Kathy. And he carried that telegram till he passed away in his billfold. And they graduated top of the class in New Albany High School. They were not blind, they were not retarded, and they were beautiful. Of course, they were kind of bald headed. Now, I wish at that time that they had those things that they put on babies' heads, but I bought them bonnets. So back then they had little bonnets that kind of tied under the chin. They were just as cute as they could be. So because people say such cute little boys, you know, if I went to the Navy thrift store and bought a carriage. Now a carriage, I guess you can still get them, but it was a big old carriage, and I used it to go to the grocery store, and both the twins would fit in it because they were so little. They wouldn't let me bring them home till they weighed 5 pounds. And I bought one home a week ahead of the other one because she gained more weight. And then I had two babies, 20, I think I had turned 21 by then. Didn't bit more hardly know how to take care of them. And of course, they were on the bottle. So I learned how to do all that and keep them cloth diapers. Sears and Roebuck back in that day, if you had twins and you bought a layette, and when I found out I was going to have twins, when you bought a newborn baby layette, it had cloth diapers and little gowns, all kinds of things you needed, including bottles and stuff that you needed for twins. And I bought my first one, and they gave me so I got a free layette, and well, I think both of them was free if you're going to have twins. Anyway, I got a lot of clothes for free and a lot of things for them for free. But I would sit and, while I was waiting for them to be born, and make little gowns by hand. I would sew by hand because you can make little gowns that I put on them when they came home. And I didn't know you could make money on YouTube. There's a lot of things I didn't know, and I'm still learning. I told my cousin Wendy, I said, she said she has a girlfriend that she took a walk with, and her hips got to hurting her so bad and her knees. And she said, "What was that thing you said you?" Wendy watches she's my cousin, first cousin, and we made friends just recently and reconnected, and we chat back and forth all the time, sometimes talk. And she said, "My girlfriend, we was going on a half a mile hike," she said, and my girlfriend says she was hurting so bad she's got to sit down, and it ended. And she says it turned out that our trail that we was walking on was really a lot longer than a half a mile. That's all they planned to walk. She could have done that. And so finally her friend just had to sit down, and Wendy went back and got the truck and came and got her. And she said, "What was that?" So I told her about turmeric, oh, texting, and sent her a picture of what I take. And now I can get up and down. I have 4 lift chairs, and the turmeric put me back in this world to where I could get up and down. I didn't have to push a button to get up and down, but I ended up with 4 lift chairs, and I still have them, but I don't need them. Sometimes if I want to be in a different position, I use it like that, but I don't really need them to get up and down. God is good. And so I told her about turmeric. Now, turmeric, the doctors don't prescribe it much because they don't know how much to tell a person to take. There is no prescription of how much to take. But I take NutriFlare from Amazon. You take 3 a day. They're capsules, and it's really easy to take. So I just did what it said, and I researched it, and it has to have ginger in it and black pepper, which they call pepperine. And you have to have ginger and black pepper, and then it makes the turmeric more effective. And I feel good. So I thank God for turmeric, and I have spread the word about turmeric. Well, I've run 13 minutes. I'm going to cut this down. I am getting to the place, girls, I don't, and boys, and gentlemen, and ladies, that I wonder what I'm going to talk about next. But here I go. Senior premium coffee, add 7 creams. And I had a friend say, "You like coffee in your cream?" Yes, I do. So y'all walk that path down where Jesus would be pleased with you. And I'll try to think of something to talk about tomorrow. It might be boring, but I can chat on and on. It's no problem. I can do this table talk, you know, but I'm enjoying YouTube. And I was going to talk more about YouTube and how it changes lives. And it's changed my life. I really look forward to talking to y'all. And that's what Debbie, uh, Kentucky Life with Debbie, when she started a couple of, well, 4 months ago or 5, I don't remember how long now. She said it just changed her life because She thought she had things to say, and she does, and her channel is growing like crazy. And now y'all hype her. Watch her, check her out, Kentucky Life with Debbie. And when you see that hype button, it helps her get more subscribers. And she said, I lost 6 subscribers the other day. Where did they go? Honey, they come and they go. People come and go. They look up somebody else and then they subscribe to somebody else, and that's whatever, because you can't please everybody and you're not interesting to everybody. That's just life. And she's interesting to me, and I look forward. She puts on 3 a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I'm looking forward to hers today. I told her, I said, I'm looking forward. She tells stuff like, what did I fix for my husband for lunch and stuff like that. It's just everyday life. That's what I do, is just everyday life mainly anymore, but God's still doing miracles since he healed my high blood pressure. I took it this morning and it was so good. But when that doctor said to me as I went out the door, go home and calm yourself down, I went home, calmed myself down, and said, okay, my cat ran away, but maybe God needed him someplace else because, he's so pretty and he never got killed. I'm pretty sure he didn't. And I put my number up everywhere. And James said, huh, he stayed with a girlfriend of mine till she passed away. And so maybe he has another thing he has to do. I said, well, he must have give up on me. I'm still here. But he was a comfort. She said, calm yourself down. So I did that. I started saying, well, that's not the end of the world, whatever happens. And James was needing this, that, and the other for me to order from Amazon, and I got all hyper over that. I worry. See, Norma, we worry, we get concerned about things that we shouldn't get so concerned about. It's not the end of the world. And when the end of the world comes, Jesus will be there, right? So I calmed myself down, and now it's running like 117 over 77, and that's a really great, and that's what it was this morning. So I'm good. Y'all good? I know you are. Walk that path like I told you, and we'll catch you later. Love you. Bye bye.